9 after 4, and we will call this Resource Committee meeting to order. And I would like to ask Council Lady Mrs. Shophouse if you'd lead us in prayer, would you?
En order to London, he HLA, Chisahan Despiat and Hope. Nina Destosta, Hekido Hest, a hand of Vilas Fan, and he also jail and Hank, it has Nigar. Nigar, the Hipkadi down to undo down the dead. O Gidoglan, Henry, Destosta, Hekido Hest. Father, we just thank you for this day. We just thank you for this wonderful rain that you've sent us. We just thank that each and every one is able to be in attendance. For all your love and care that you bring us together again. We ask you to be with each and every one as we do our business for the betterment of our nation. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. We will, ladies, you do a roll call for us, please.
Jackie Bob Martin. David Thornton. Bill Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Audra Connor. Joe Christian. Meredith Fraley. John Garvin. Bill Johnson.
Here.
Taylor King. Johnny Keener.
Here.
Linda O'Leary. Malvina Shotcouch. Kara Cowan Watts. John Masters.
Ho!
We have a call.
Do have a quorum. Mr. Bridgman has walked in, so. Good to see all of you. We'll get right on to business. We need to look at your January 22nd special session minutes.
I move that be approved.
Mr. Baker, my motion approved, and I heard a second over here. Mrs. Shophouse, all in favor? Aye. Approved. We'll move on to our report. First on the report, natural resources. I don't see Angie. Okay. Todd, welcome. And
good afternoon, everyone. He's
yeah.
out sick today, and Pat's out of town in a meeting today, so I'm going to fill in for him. As you well know, since January 22nd, we've continued to work on stuff related to disaster assistance and natural resources, helped out quite a bit on that. They've also dealt with 75 calls and inquiries over the month, and continue to work with Job Corps on the trucking company expansion. So we're doing the land development there and working on a couple of, track, school track. And they've been busy assisting with that. One of the things I want to take time today to let you know, we are working diligently with FEMA, trying to present our case for individual assistance for the counties affected by the storm. And so the chief is in Washington, D.C. today, meeting with them, had a conference call, and we were paying the difference and the contrast of the response between the state of Oklahoma ice storm and the tornadoes in Florida. It's a pretty significant contrast, and so we're really trying to paint that as far as the level of damage. It was greater, much greater in the state of Oklahoma, about fivefold, and but the response was tenfold in the state of Florida, and they already have individual assistance on the third day of the event. So we're up there trying to paint that picture and paint the discrepancies as far as the response and the declaration. So we're working on things trying to get assistance to all of the affected counties in the state. So hopefully we're trying to get that off high center and get it moved a little forward. That's all I got.
any questions or comments? Mr. Johnson.
I just want to I talked to Angie about this. Nearly every county, not necessarily in our district or in our state, has a Farm Service Agency office, and generally they've got a certain level of Native Americans. They ask the Native American to serve as an advisor on their board. Now, that board is the one that determines loan rates for different crops. They initiate payments, agriculture programs, that type of thing. And I serve on the Washington-Nowata County FSA office in that district. And so I would encourage any of the council members might check with their FSA offices to see if we have Cherokee citizens serving on this. I just wanted to point that out. And if we don't, maybe we ought to work to try to get it done. Thank you.
Mr. King, you have a...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd, this kind of came up during last Friday's meeting, and Councilor Garvin actually brought it up that there were a number of citizens who lived at large who were seeking to get relief as well. Now, I know it with federal funds, we're restricted certainly to within our jurisdictional boundaries. But if they are citizens and this is emergency relief, how can we look at trying to make sure that they could qualify for some of these services? The chief specifically mentioned is it
Housing rehab?
Housing rehab, I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we are looking at as far as flexibility with some of the housing rehab funds to be able to do that.
Are there any other areas that are not entirely, I mean, this is our money, right?
Right. Yeah, we're looking at other things, and that was one of the things when we did the initial disaster relief and trying to identify funds and resources that would be out there and what our flexibility would be with those to try and provide that assistance. So we are looking into that.
Okay. So, but at this point, if they lived that large, then their petitions were denied, correct?
Correct. We still have their applications on file. We're entering those. I think we're up to about 4,300 that have been entered as of this morning.
Okay, so those petitions will be...
So we can take a look at those and evaluate those and see if there's some other alternative resource to throw towards that.
I'm sure Jack and I would like to see if we can make an impact.
Yeah, what we're doing is we're taking all those, getting entered in the system, and we're doing some analysis on those to find out, make sure that there weren't duplicate records or anything going on there, and then also that would identify those that were in or out of jurisdiction, some that were over income, and taking a look at those and just double checking our numbers to make sure everything is correct and accurate before we move forward. So we're taking a look at that to see what other options are out there.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other question or comment? Todd, I have one. Our annual meeting that we have at the Longest facilities in April. Just make a note that see if we can get that going and hopefully enough funding to buy enough fish to have a fish fry, whatever. If not, might donate some out of my general assistant, Joe and I, to buy enough. It's in the community.
I'm sure we get it covered. We'll make an announcement, get everything squared away for the next meeting.
Any other comments or questions for Todd? Ma'am?
Again, Todd, I want to thank you for your effort during this time. And I know I called you several times and you were busy, but I just want to thank you for your effort.
No problem. Glad to help. Like as many of the staff are there, glad to get out there and help the people that need it the most.
Well, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Number 2, real estate services, Linda Donovan.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, real estate services for the month of January. We had about 804 phone calls that we received in return. We met with 85 individual clients that came in. We did 29 site inspections. We had 5 airship probate inventories that went for administrative law judge proceedings for the BIA. We did 66 probate inventories on one tract of land that had 127 presumptive heirs. We finally got through that. It was a big project, but it's done now. We have 32 travel grading leases that have been approved by the BIA, and add that to the 5 that was approved in December, that totals 37. That leaves 35 grazing leases still pending at the Bureau. We did 18 land assignments on tribal grazing leases, and we had 7 hunting leases that are still pending at the BIA, 20 right-of-way appraisals that are still waiting for the OST to review. We had 4 home visits, 14 jurisdictional calls. We received 4 quiet titles. We did 4 will interviews and took 2 full-blood Indians to court to get their wills approved. And we did some other research and title plant documentation. We also turned in our first quarter report to the Bureau. And additionally, we want to mention that on the grazing tracks, those too have suffered some damage to the fences due to the storm. And I think, from my understanding from Angie, they may look at FEMA to see if they could see about fixing some of those. But if not, we may end up having to do an additional budget request to try to work on some of the fences that trees fell on, and it's causing some problems to our some of those were new fences too. But that happens when the storm goes. We assisted the Human Services Department with paperwork for vacating the housing plat on the 14 acres adjoining Marcona. Dana Jim for Justice actually went to the City Council meeting, and that plat has been vacated. So the new plat for the adult daycare center can be entered, and they will continue on that basis. We purchased the Court Mall. We worked with Natural Resources on that to purchase it, and we got that done on January 29th. That is 0.257 acres. We currently have 1 lessee in the building. It's the barber shop. We also purchased that small church that's located next to the Park Hill Post Office. That's 0.8 acres or 3 lots. And we have a potential renter for that property for the time being. The staff members at Realty also help citizens with applications for the emergency assistance. Apparently they needed everybody that they could to help out with filling those applications out, so we spent a few days on those too. We also had a staff member assist tribal citizens by testifying in court as to the location of the house. I think Jackie Bob is pretty familiar with this one, because these tribal citizens were served with papers to vacate the house and on a certain tract of land, but there wasn't a house on that land. And so we went to court and testified that there was no house on the land, and so the court allowed the tribal citizens to remain in the house because they were picking the wrong piece of land. So we also attended the NAPE conference in Houston on February 1st and 2nd. That went really well. We had cards that we collected from about 12 oil and gas companies, and 2 of these companies are interested in building down at the Chilocco site. So we'll be looking into that further. 2 of the companies actually called up and want more information because they're interested. One of them is a 2/3 minority-owned company, and he has a half Indian, well, half Cherokee partner. But they said that they're really interested in that site to see if they can do oil and gas development. So we're moving forward on that. Hopefully we'll get somewhere soon on it. And that's all I have for right now.
Mel?
Linda, is there somewhere, maybe at Muskogee or somewhere like that, original Lottie, if they can't find it, in a record in the county, is there somewhere that they can go look if there's a name? I mean, is there a list of names of original Lotties and what they might have been lotted somewhere?
As to the land, well, if they have their allotment number, we have cards. We have cards on everybody that had a lot of land except for those that turned up missing, because when we got them all from the Bureau, sometimes somebody would recognize their family member in there and they would just take the card out. And how that kind of thing can happen.
Sometimes, not all the allotments will be recorded. Sometimes there's missing, and we have people come through and they want to know, my grandmother had this land, where can I go? So they can come.
So they come to us, and if they have their number, we can generally find them on their allotment cards. Usually has what they were allotted, if some of it was taken back for some reason, usually it was X'd out and it shows what it was replaced with. And it even tells, a lot of them will tell who it was that had requested that the allotment be given. So there's a lot of information on the allotment cards. That's why last year we went through a procedure to protect those cards because they are historical cards as well as informational, because they do tell who stood up and asked the court to give the land to them, what land was allotted. There are different things that are on the cards. And those are over 100 years old now.
Bureau, do you have questions?
Yes, please, Madam Chairman. I was looking at her. What's the status on the remote property?
I think they're about to approve a deal. The C&E board is about to approve it. So we just need to move forward now on getting our lease documents. I understand that their attorney is drafting up some documents, so we need to get that from them so that we know what type of lease terms that they're looking at. And once we get all that, we can get an environmental and some other documents and get ready to forward those to the Bureau. And what happens on that, because that's for a gaming type procedure, we will have to submit it to the Eastern District, and then the Eastern District has to submit it to the central office in Washington, D.C., who will have their people go over it, and if it looks good to them, they will do a directive back to Ms. Hannah and ask that she sign it. So, in one way it's good, because they're the ones that make the decision up there as to whether you go forward with, Ms. Hannah, how she is.
We just want to beat them Osages, they're getting closer up there.
Right, so, yeah, but I understand that's moving forward, and they're pretty well satisfied with the terms, and we just need to get that documentation started.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Linda, I have a comment and a question. Committee will allow me. I want to thank you for your part and some of your staff part in dealing with that issue that you mentioned a while ago about the 80-plus-year-old widow lady in our district that seemingly or thought that might the possibility of losing that house. And I know she talked with her yesterday, and she's much relieved that it turned out the way it did. And I appreciate your people's effort in that. But I had a phone call here not too long ago from a gentleman in Denver, Colorado, about a piece of restricted land somewhere around Lake Skytooth. And the problem is that no telling how many heirs they are. They can't find all the heirs. So he had talked to an attorney, and the attorney gave up on the deal. It said it looked like a multi-million-dollar piece of property, what it cost to get it to where someone could own it. In those situations, and I know that's not the only situation, I've heard of other, restricted land where there's many heirs, can't find all of them or whatever. What happens to that land? What will happen to it?
Well, if it's restricted, it'll just sit there, non-taxable, unless somebody starts homesteading on it and get an adverse possession, it will still just remain in the family's name.
Well, yeah, and that's the fear that he has.
That somebody will do that.
That someone could do that and
And usually, if we have these properties identified, if we know where they are, if we can put a honey lease on it or something like that, that keeps it from being adversely possessed by someone if we are actively doing some type of lease or other proceeding on the land. I know it seems like it costs us a lot of money that we will lease a 10-acre piece that's landlocked by other people, but maybe one of the adjoining owners will lease it for hunting. And while we have that lease on it, no one can come in and claim adverse possession on it. So it keeps the adjoining landowners from trying to take it over or anyone else from doing it. And maybe it costs us $250 for a appraisal just to get $10 for the heir. But in the long run, you're actually protecting that property from someone else claiming it.
Yeah.
So it's protection for the heirs. So, like if you know where that is, we could look into that and see what we can do, because that Skytook area is a pretty good area.
Well, yeah, and I think Lake Skytook had gotten part of it, when anyway, I told him, next time he's down, I'll bring him down and bring him to your office, and you can go through that with him, whatever.
Right. And sometimes they think it's really hard to do because there are a lot of errors. But like this one piece, one track, we found 66 dead persons and ran down all of their errors. Yeah. And that one is ready to do a quiet title on it so that we can do one action to clear up the title to one piece of property.
Now, how long? I'll let you have it. That takes a long time.
That one took us a long time.
Yeah. Mel?
Can a state or federal city government take restricted land by eminent domain?
Yes, they can.
They can.
Yes. I think that's happening right now through the expansion of the Highway 51 that's about to go on. There are 8 or 9 restricted Indian tracts that are down that way, and they are all going to be affected by the highway. And they will have to come to the Real Estate Services Office to negotiate those deals as to what they're going to pay for the property that they take.
Thanks.
Bill, John?
But now the people that lose the restricted land, can you take that money and buy fee land and it goes into restriction?
They should be able to do that, yes, especially because it's condemned. Usually because of the condemnation, the Bureau will treat that a higher standard because it was taken away from them, and help them to, and they're suggesting that we not just do it as a restricted purchase, but as a trust application, to instead of putting it in a restricted status, to put it in a trust status.
Which that could be a really good thing for them.
Yeah, it would be.
Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you. Well, 3 and 4, item 3 and 4, road and transportation, public comment, road issue, Michael Lynn.
Good afternoon. I'll start out here with federal projects, or the IRR projects that we're known by. First of all, in Mays County, we've got Cedar Crest Road and Cedar Crest Bridge, Cedar Crest Road and Bridge. Still working on the right-of-way there. We've done the right-of-way research on the road, ready to start acquiring right-of-way there. Around the bridge location, the gentleman that we're dealing with, trying to get right-of-way signed by him. I think last time I was up here I mentioned a list that he was to provide us, and we did receive that list, and we're able to comply with some of the items he's requesting, but not every one of them. Had a meeting 2 weeks ago with the county commissioner in that district, and just kind of lay things out towards the condemnation process, because I believe that's where it's probably going to end up heading before it's over with. But we are still in negotiations with him, and then hopefully we'll be able to negotiate it out before it goes to condemnation. Daytown Dry Creek in Delaware County, about an 8.5 mile job. It's going to out for bid this Thursday, this week. Be out for bid for around 30 days. We should have a bid opening first part of March, and be awarding that contract shortly thereafter. Fairview 2 project in Delaware County. It's under construction right now. It's probably 40 to 50% cleared right now. If you drive down through there, it looks like a completely different road than what it was. It's the road that goes through the game preserve up there, Spavinoff Game Refuge. So it's really shaping up through there. The Red Barn project here in Cherokee County is still underway. Weather has really set it behind. Another thing that we've had a lot of problems with out there are utilities, mainly AT&T telephone lines. They were told they were relocated, and come to find out they had been relocated, but not in the correct places in all locations. So we've had a lot of telephone lines hit out there. Not every time are they broken. Most of them are just exposed, and we've got to get AT&T back out there to get it relocated and repaired, whatever is needed there. Rice Woodard Road here in Cherokee County, we are still in that right-of-way acquisition process there. We had a meeting with the county commissioner in that area about a week ago. turned over a list of names to him to see what he could do as far as negotiations. We really went as far as we can go. Want to see if he can get anything done there, and if need be, take those to condemnation. Saline Creek Bridge, Delaware County. It's on what we can call a Twin Oaks Bull Hollow project. That bridge is well underway. They tell me they should be pouring the deck this week. Once the deck is poured, then they'll come up with the walls on the side and build the approaches and have asphalt down up there probably within the next 2.5 weeks. We've got Kenwood Road project. It runs from Highway 59 or 10 to the Mays County line, but it's in Delaware County. That's probably about 50% designed. It's an overlay project. We've got some bridges along there that we're trying to figure out what we need to do, working with the county commissioner to see about getting some bridges. There's 6 bridges on there that are in need of some repair. When we originally drew the estimate up, we didn't consider repairing all 6 bridges, but after we got out there, we realized that they need to be repaired, rehabbed, or replaced, and we're looking into that. If need be, we may have to shift some additional funding over to that project to get those bridges up to par. But right now, we're working through the county commissioner to see what resources are available through Delaware County. And lastly, Sticker Ross Loop. That's this road right out here, all the way down to the powwow grounds and back out to the highway. 62 here. That's also about 50% design. We are not too far off on that. It's also an overlay project just to maintain what we've got on the ground out here now. The overlay, I mentioned overlay project, and it shouldn't take too long, but we're about 50% design on that. On the non-IRR, the motor fuel tax projects, we've got 5 of them coming to the Executive Finance Committee this month. We've got 2 in Cherokee County, North Lost City Road and Stone Creek Road. 2 in Delaware County, New Life Ranch Road. It's the 3rd phase, I guess you could say, of that project. And then Deer Lake Road, it'd be the 4th phase of that project. And then 1 in Craig County called Centralia Road. I was just talking to the chairman before the meeting. What a lot of these county commissioners are having to do is phase out these projects. We may get to phase 15 on some of these projects before it's over. There's just not enough money to build the roads that they need, so they're having to do it in phases, and that's the best way to do it. Either that or save the money up over a period of years. But then it looks like they're not building any roads up there. So, but that's why we have Deer Lake Phase 4 and New Life Ranch Phase 3. Total of those 5 projects, just over $640,000 going to Executive Finance this month, and those will all be out of the motor vehicle tax funding. And lastly, I want to mention our inventory that'll be coming to you, Resources Committee on March 12th next month, and then forwarded directly into the full council that same evening. Right now, I got a number this morning, just a little over 600 miles that we're going to be adding to our inventory this year. So it's up considerably from what we've done in years past. So that'll be a good thing. So that's all I have to report this evening.
I was over Mays County the other day. I thought Johnny King was really doing something. They told me he was building the Strain Bridge, the Cherokee Nation money, and I said, well, I don't know about that. But I know why they thought that. There's a sign that says, they paved the Cherokee Nation road, so they thought Cherokee Nation was building that bridge across the stream.
Don't tell them any different.
Any other comments or questions? Nothing new on the Honey Hill project.
Nothing new on Honey Hill.
I've had people ask me about that, and I've tried to tell them, well, we've had a change in the DA and things, probably slow the process down.
That when the new DA took over, Assistant District Attorney in Stillwell was handling it. I was been since told it was shifted over to Wagner County to an Assistant DA over there. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I don't have anything to do with that. But I think it is being looked into by an Assistant DA over in Wagner County right now. One other thing I would like to mention, I spoke with Mr. Masters, and I just want to mention because it was brought up in last month's meeting about the Stanway Road extension. I talked to the county commissioner this morning, and he hopes to have that project completed by May 1st. He has talked to Melvina about possible equipment rental to go in and grind the old pavement up and reincorporate that down into the base to make a really good road project. But since it was brought up last meeting, I wanted to mention it this meeting. So we're working with him on getting an application from him.
Any other comments or questions from us? No, well, thank you.
Thank you all.
And I'd like to, if I could, at this moment, we had a gentleman that walked in. If you'd introduce yourself, so we can have a recorder introduce yourself.
I'm walking stick, I'm from Server.
What was the first name?
Ben?
Ben, thank you, good to have you. All right, we'll get into facility report number 5, Mr. Roberts. We have there he is. Double duty Todd.
Just to let you know, we continue to work on some of the stuff that was sustained during the ice storm. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but still going in and fixing the stuff. We've got some leaks in some roofs now that are new, and trying to go back in and repair those. And also, we recently bid out the generator for the main complex. We have a successful bidder on that, but it's going to be about 15 weeks for them to manufacture that and get that installed on the main complex. So that was one of the items that was a big ticket item on the main complex. And we also submitted an RFP for the air conditioner on the financial resources building. Both of those were large ticket items, and both of them went to Terrell vendors. So I just want to let you guys know that we are trying to find Terrell vendors as much as we can to replace that stuff.
The Cherokee Nation Head Start at J. I guess they had quite a bit of damage to the building, and is when they.
Yeah, we have a fairly significant. I saw our insurance claim related to the storm, and there were quite a few places that were affected, and some were minor, $190 here, $500 there. And we had several building structures that were damaged in excess of $10,000 or $20,000. So we still don't have the total dollar amount yet, but we are trying to get those fixed as fast as possible.
They said their pipes was up here or something. They busted Millie.
Yeah, pipes are overhead.
Linda?
Todd, last time we visited, we talked about setting up some emergency meetings where we could be prepared, ready and aware, and be prepared to help our people. What have we? I know you've been real busy, and we can tackle that later. But I just want to remind you that's something.
Yeah, and in fact, when I stepped up just a few minutes ago, I was on the phone with the state emergency management coordinator, and trying to get meetings set up with him so we can coordinate with the state as well as the county and the internal resources. And so we are trying to get those set up so we can try to work together as one community.
That'd be great. Let us know.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Well, Tom, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's move along then. There's no unfinished business. We'll get into the new business. Have 2 items here. First one, Janine Hale, resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Environmental Program to submit a formal grant application to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for a tribal wildlife grant.
Good afternoon. We want to apply to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for $86,000. There's no match required. The purpose, we'd be working with natural resources. Our biologists would be going out and doing a survey of the American burying beetle, which is an endangered species. We'd be trying to get a better handle of where these beetles are, because every time we have to do an environmental review for one of our housing projects or construction projects that's already been planned, we have to stop in the middle and then go out and do this survey. So,
Mr. Baker?
Move for approval.
Motion for approval. I heard a couple of seconds, but the loudest one was the lady over here to the right. Is that right? Connors will let you.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions? Comments, questions? All in favor of approval, sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Anything else? Thank you. Number 2, that's approved. Number 2, Mrs. Donaldson.
This is for an easement of for right-of-way over tribal land in Adair County known as CMS number 32 between Cherokee Nation and Fred and Rhonda Holtz. Fred and Rhonda Holtz are not Cherokee citizens, however, they have been living next to our tribal tract for the last, since the 50s. And apparently, some reason or other, they've always been going across the track, and it's time to make it legal instead of, and to make them pay for the easement instead of them just continue this way. If something happens to them, or if they were to sell their land, they would have a problem because they wouldn't have a legal access to their property, and that's what they're looking at now, is looking to their future and asking us to go ahead and give them a right-of-way. But we want them to pay for the survey and pay for the easement itself.
Mr. Garvin?
Chairman, I move for the approval.
Have a motion approved. Get a second. Saw a hand come up. Sure. That's one second. Linda, just exactly where is this place?
This is, I think their address is 12 West Oak, Stillwell.
Is this there in town, on city limits?
It's over there, you know, where the West Oak is. It's over that way. It's pretty close.
It must be, well, when I saw that, I couldn't figure that out, because it had to be there in town, and it must be, I know these people, that's the problem, I'm just curious where it is. Joe?
Chairman, that kind of sounds like the address of their business. I don't know.
Well, anyway, it's
I mean, that's on West Oak
Street.
Street.
And I can find some more information out for you if you want to.
Well, I just for curiosity.
But I understand it's only about 100 feet is what they're having to cross.
I didn't know the only property that I thought that we might have, trust land or whatever would be out there where the senior housing, the 20 acres out there. But I don't know where they live, that's beside the point.
Okay.
All right, we had a motion, a second. Did we vote on that? No, we didn't. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? So, thank you, Linda. So, any announcements? Getting the next meeting date, March the 12th at 4 p.m.
Will we adjourn?
Got a motion to adjourn? Got a second down there, Mr. Watt. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.